Alright, so today we're going to talk about three things. Those three things are settling with power, vortex ring state, rotor droop, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to fly power limited approaches in these high hot conditions. Currently up in the mountains, 4,500 feet, temperature is 21, and the aircraft gross weight is 19,580 pounds. That is 16 Hellfires, 300 rounds of 30, 3170 on the gas, with an FCR, so she is super heavy. So with that, we'll just take off. Alright, there we go, starting to break contact. We're going to hold the aircraft in ground effect, continue to accelerate here. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to start to climb up just a little bit. So what I'm going to start with is settling with power. And the way I'm going to demonstrate settling with power is I'm just going to take and bring the aircraft to an OGE hover with a torque limit of 100%. Alright, 100% is the transmission's continuous torque limit. That's why I've chosen that value there. And what I should expect is the aircraft is going to start to descend because I do not have sufficient power applied to maintain the aircraft at a stable out of ground effect hover. So here we go. I'm going to start slowing the aircraft back, pulling in that 100% torque, slowing the aircraft back. There's 100%, a little bit of trim, 100%. Keep slowing the aircraft back, a little bit more pedal, trim, a little bit more pedal. There we go. Keep slowing the aircraft back. Need to get the torque back down to 100%. There we go. Notice we are starting to descend. No big deal. This, my friends, is settling with power. I have insufficient power applied to maintain a stable hover, and I'm just settling. I'm just falling down. I'm at about 800 foot per minute. No big deal. Pretty benign. All I'm going to do is transition symbology, drop the nose just a little bit, and I'm going to fly out. Okay? That right there is settling with power. Next, I'm going to demonstrate vortex ring state, which is an aerodynamic stall of the main rotor system. To do that, I'm going to have to climb up just a little bit, so I've got a little bit more reaction time. I'm going to enter it the same way as I just entered into settling with power, except I'm going to then reduce the collective just a little bit to really get the aircraft descending and get into the settling with power, or vortex ring state condition. It's going to take just a minute. Need a lot of altitude for this just so we can recover it. The cool thing is that we now have a VRS warner, so we should see that appear up on the control indicator. So that'll kind of give us an idea that we're approaching the VRS region. Alright, this is pretty good. 1,400 feet. I'm going to start slowing the helicopter back, maintaining that 100% torque just so I can start getting the aircraft to descend. We know we'll start to descend initially at about 800-ish foot per minute or so. Hover symbology. Take the power out just a little bit of pedal. Alright, we're starting to descend. Oh man, that kind of sucks. And then for whatever reason, I decide I want to just reduce the power a little bit more and really start to descend. There we go. We're starting to get into the vortex ring state. We are in vortex ring state. We're shaking. The aircraft is unhappy. I'm just going to lower the nose in this particular instance because I can't really go to the right and fly out. All right. That's an aerodynamic stall. Notice the difference in the rates of descent. All right. In order for vortex ring state to happen, all three conditions required have to exist. You have to have a rate of descent greater than 300 foot per minute, power applied 20 to 100% with insufficient power available for the recovery, and you have to be at speeds less than ETL. If any one of those are not true, you cannot get into VRS. Period. Can't happen. Now, next thing I'm going to demonstrate to you is rotor droop. What I expect to happen here is I'm going to start slowing the helicopter back, again trying to achieve a stable OGE hover. I'm going to start to settle, and I'm going to start to pull more power above 100%. Eventually, I'm going to hit 107% dual engine, which is what my dual engine max torque is, and I'm going to see a TGT of 867. That is the dual engine TGT limiter for the aircraft. And what is going to happen is the main rotor speed, the NR, is going to droop and or slow down, however you want to phrase it. So with that, I'm going to start slowing the aircraft back. Be like, man, I'm really descending. That's weird. I need more power. I need more power. Wait a minute. That's not stopping. Rotor RPM low. Oh, no, that's not good. Let's apply a little bit of forward cyclic. Reduce the collective just a little bit. Ooh. And fly out. That was actually kind of cool. So notice that because I had that, you know, I had my rate of descent greater than 300 foot per minute, speed was less than ETL, and I had power applied 2100% with insufficient power available for the recovery. I was drooping the rotor, which was slowing down the main rotor speed, decreasing lift. I eventually hit the conditions required for vortex ring state. So yes, these conditions can lead one into another, all right? They are kind of synergistic in that way, all right? But bottom line is that was rotor droop that I was demonstrating, and it just happened to lead into vortex ring state, which it can. Okay, so for this next part, I decided to just kind of restart and come back to an area where I had plenty of room to be able to do this next section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you how to perform power limited approaches. All right, so first we'll just kind of take off here. All right, come on. Using all of my available power here. Break contact with the ground. I'm going to try and keep the aircraft in ground effect, continue to accelerate. Keeping that velocity vector straight up and down that 12 o'clock probe best I can. That way if I lose an engine and I drop to the ground, I won't roll the aircraft over because I'm at an odd angle to the flight path. Alright, so there we are. We're up at 55 knots, climbing on up, and I'm just going to search for my field here. Alright, I have my intended point of landing there, so I'm going to start to reduce the collective just a little bit. As I do that, I'm going to put in just a little bit of pedal, bring that flight path vector down. I'm going to actually shift it to the right just a little bit more, and I'm going to go right about there. I've got a 500-ish foot per minute rate of descent, and that's fine. That's what I'm looking for. I'm a little bit fast, so I'm just going to slow the aircraft down. I'm going to let go of the force trim, recenter my flight controls because I'm center position trim. Rate of descent's a little bit high. Need a little bit more aft cyclic to slow the aircraft down. Reduce the collective just a little bit. Maintain that flight path vector on my point. A little bit high on the rate of descent. Trim. There's 50 knots, 120 feet, 100 feet, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30. Start thinking decel. Bridge the power. Wait for the tail wheel to contact, cushion, and down. So you're flying a nice stabilized approach all the way down to the ground, all right? That is a nice power limited approach. It's a little bit different because you got to keep the airspeed up so that you can keep the power requirement low. And then down towards the bottom in that last 30 to 40 feet, you're going to do a little bit of a decel, arrest your rate of descent by trading off your airspeed. You're going to bridge the power by increasing the collective to help arrest the rate of descent. Wait for the tail wheel to gently contact the ground, cushion the mains onto the ground, and terminate the approach. It's a lot faster, and there's a whole lot of things that are happening down at the bottom when you're doing it. So it's definitely a little more challenging. All right, coming on up. Using that low area there. Keep coming forward. Get the aircraft accelerated. A little more power. Using the low area there. Getting the aircraft up around that 50 knots VX speed roughly. And flying up and out. Alright, so we're set. I'm going to go ahead and start another one of these approaches here. Reducing the collective. Establishing myself at 500 foot per minute rate of descent. Slowing back towards about that 50 knots. Right about there. Coming to the right just a little bit so I'm not right up against the obstacles. I'm going to release the force trim, recenter my controls, and just stabilize the approach. So I'm just holding what I got. 50 knots, 500 foot per minute, rate of descent. Continuing down and forward, down and forward, down and forward. Just driving the aircraft down and forward. Same thing's going to happen here as I start getting down to that last 30, 40 feet. I'm going to start thinking decel, apply a little bit of half cyclic, maintain the velocity vector straight up and down the 12 o'clock probe, plant the tail wheel, cushion the mains, and terminate the approach. So right about there, a little bit of power. Keeping that velocity vector straight up and down the best I can, down and cushion, and we're on the ground. So there you go. If you want to try and avoid all of the things that we just talked about previously, then you're going to fly a nice stabilized approach, maintaining well above ETL, giving yourself a nice buffer. 500 foot per minute works out pretty good as far as the rate of descent because you're going to have plenty of power to be able to, and airspeed to trade off at the bottom to arrest that descent, cushion the landing, and stick your point. All right, that's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Bye.